Massive news for Exeter as Alphington Cricket Club need a new opening batsman. And in other news, Matt Taylor's gone. Hello and welcome to the Big Bank Theory podcast. My name's John, here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Big
Sorry, what?
week. Yeah, sorry. If you've not caught up with this yet, if you live in Australia, what's that guy's name? Dean Dagan.
Yeah.
Dean, got some bad news. Matt Taylor's off.
Well, we're hoping that he's gone by the time this comes out. We're not hoping that he's gone.
No.
Ideally, there's some sort of last minute, turnaround and he ends up staying.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the sake of this podcast being accurate and right, we're going to say that he's gone because, let's face it, he's gone.
He's gone. He's gone.
He's gone to
Rotherham United.
Barry and Paul Chuckles, Rotherham United.
Yeah.
The Millers.
The Millers. Let's hope he doesn't become the third Chuckle brother. There is a third Chuckle brother, of course.
There
Never
is,
mentioned.
Yeah. And also, Barry Chuckle is no longer with us.
Dearly departed.
Yeah.
Much like Matt Taylor. So he, on Saturday after the game, we'll come on to the game later, listeners, because who cares, honestly. Taylor was asked, and he said, I've been approached by Rotherham, and I'm going to decide in 24 hours.
Yeah, this was in the radio interview they do for BBC Radio Devon Sport.
Yes.
Didn't mention it in the club one. And yeah, so he sort of brought it up, and that kind of, so he essentially sort of leaked it, because after that, the club and, well, our club and Rotherham both had to make statements sort of saying it, because he'd sort of just gone and said it.
Classic Taylor. I mean, that's classic Taylor.
It is, yeah.
Go out as you mean to carry on. I'll say what's true.
Yes.
And nothing else.
Yeah. And that then seemed, well, you wouldn't mention it, would you, if you weren't planning on going?
No.
You just wouldn't. You wouldn't give us like 24 hours like, yeah, not going to go. Actually, I know I said all that.
And it obviously wasn't just a text message, was it? Matt, would you come up Rotherham? He's obviously gone through the process at that point.
He was interviewed on the Thursday, apparently.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. And was offered the job, and we understand has accepted.
Yes. So the supporters trust,
Yeah.
the trust, if you will, have tweeted it and then deleted it.
Yeah. But their tweets, it was a joint statement from the club and the trust.
Right.
So they obviously just jumped the gun or something.
You haven't seen the statement?
No, because I don't think I think because the tweet's gone. I don't know. I don't know if you
There was
could
nothing
get
to click on, was there? That's right. Yeah.
But anyway, these things happen.
It's 4.5 years as a manager.
Yep.
Another year and a bit as a coach.
Yep.
Obviously 5 years as player.
He's really kind of part of the furniture.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
And very successful. Only one of 3 managers that's brought us promotion.
Yes. Yeah.
So, thank you very much, Matt Taylor. That's not true, but in the modern era.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Matt Taylor. You were an excellent manager and a very good man to have around.
Yeah. He made the he kind of picked everyone up again, didn't he? After the disappointment of the 2 playoff final defeats and the kind of acrimonious exit of
You shall not be named.
our former leader,
Yeah.
Paul Tisdale.
He does look a bit like Voldemort, doesn't he? Like a jazzy Voldemort.
He's bald.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could say any bald man looks a bit like Voldemort.
Tisdale was only ever one step away from wearing a cape, though, let's be honest.
Paul Tisdale, and we'll talk about him more in a minute.
I thought I was still talking about him.
Being bald isn't ideal as a man.
Yeah.
And I think he pulled it off better than probably 99% of blokes.
It's a fair comment.
So for that, I know that's just genetics, but you have to give him credit for it.
Anyway, Taylor picked us up, didn't he?
He did, yeah, and he built a kind of new squad. We kind of built 2 squads really, kind of, roughly. Had his own way of doing things, had his own way of presenting himself, was completely himself the whole time, like very refreshing, honest guy. Got us playing good football straight away. It was a little different. It wasn't a million miles away from where we played under Paul Tisdale. It kind of evolved as it went. He brought in his own signings, notably Nicky Law in that first season, amongst others. And then, last season got us that promotion we've been looking for such a long time. And
did it with a plomb, if we're honest.
Really did, yeah. I mean, one below a plomb, I'd say, because we could have won the league on the last day of the season.
B-Plomb, I suppose that is.
A B-Plomb, yeah. And, but, yeah, it's been, in a way, it's not ideal to leave 10 games into the season, but he does kind of leave at kind of, a high point.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, he really, the past 16 months for him have been not flawless, but incredibly good. To come into a new league, a league where we're out budgeted.
Yep.
And show that we can more than hold our own. I mean, that's what's got him the job, obviously, isn't it? Not just the promotion, but I'd imagine Rotherham are a similar kind of setup, a division higher, not going to be able to compete financially.
Yeah, they're a bit of a yo-yo team. I think almost like they're a total yo-yo team. They just go up and down from between League One and the Championship constantly. So maybe we'll cross paths with him again. Do you mean? Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, I'd imagine...
They're not very sack-happy, are they? The last guy's left to go and join Derby. So.
That's right. And he came back, didn't he? He was there before, I think.
Okay.
I mean, I think... Because there's been some talk of obviously this is just internet talk, really. None of us have even really heard about it till after the game on Saturday. But, why has he gone there? That's not much of a step up from City. But it's showing, isn't it, that he can compete in the Championship.
I mean, they are literally in the Championship.
I mean, they're literally in the Championship and
so
mid-table. So it is a step up.
Yeah.
And then if he shows that he can do it there...
Yeah.
That's...
Obviously, there's a gamble. There's a gamble in any kind of football
gambling,
kind of
staying too long at City and going back down with this, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. And, it's a shame, isn't it? It's a big shame. It was quite sad yesterday. I mean, not so much today. I kind of think, okay, right, fine, let's move on. It's been a good 4 years, but, it's a lifetime. Supporting Exeter City is a lifetime activity, and he wasn't going to be there for a lifetime. So when these things happen, you just have to move on to the next thing, and
I think we'll all look back on him very fondly because obviously it's been a very successful time.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially even under these circumstances, I don't think anyone's really that annoyed.
No, well, I notice people are getting annoyed about announcements. Well, if that's what you've got to choose from here,
yeah,
he's been. I don't know what the word is, but there's been... I honestly can't think of anything he's done wrong. Obviously occasionally bring a sub on earlier, but he's just been actually flawless in his approach, in his manner, in his commitment, in what he's managed to achieve, and the kind of...
Yeah, overall.
Obviously
there's been times when I think why is he doing this? Or kind of whatnot, and certain signings, why he brought him in, why aren't you playing this person here and there? But yeah, broadly speaking, been very good for us, hasn't he?
I mean, as football managers go,
yeah,
excellent.
And sometimes you get some right sorts turning up at your club. Do you know what I mean? Imagine if you're, you end up with one of these other pricks. What's it called with the tan? The Blackpool fella.
The Blackpool fella with the tan.
Yeah, the fake tan, Phil Brown. Or
Phil Brown.
Him, or matey with the white puffer jacket.
Yeah.
Derek Adams, I mean,
I think who you really fear is Joey Barton, isn't it? Which we'll come on to later. But
yeah.
You couldn't kind of get a better contrast on Saturday between...
Yeah, and I think while at the end of the last era, the club was a little bit... We were all a bit disheartened by the playoff defeats, and the fans kind of split their allegiances. Some big supporters of Tisdale, some hated him and wanted him gone, and then Taylor's seamlessly kind of united them, and it's not just him, but the way they kind of appointed him and the way they did all that, it really worked. And look at this season, we got promoted this season. We're up to Bristol Rovers at home sold out on Saturday, and that's not something that happens very often. Especially as it isn't a rivalry. I don't know why some people were sort of saying it was, but it isn't.
And we'll come on to this later probably, but it's a real gift for the new manager. he comes into a setup where, there's no skeletons in the cupboard. There's in the cupboard, if you will. There's, like you said, a United fan base. We're selling out home matches. We're in a good place in the league. There's no panic around the place. We've got an excellent squad. Really,
what's the new manager going to do about the lack of available trinkets for sale in the club shop? That's what I want to know.
I mean,
that's the first order of business.
That is something they can build on.
Right. What's going on here? Why haven't you got any onesies?
Yeah.
Why haven't you got,
Yeah. Have you got bucket hats? Yes. Are they reversible? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Right. Okay.
Now I'll concentrate on my centre backs.
Okay, yeah. What's this about an injury crisis? Don't worry about that. I've got to sort out the pencils and rubbers.
The other thing, of course, is the ground is in excellent nick because, of course, when Taylor came,
yeah,
and
great
the training
pitch.
grounds in
training
process.
grounds in process of being, it's a great opportunity for someone to come into.
And actually,
and you get to live in Exeter as well if you want.
Because obviously, when Tisdale came in, things weren't great. I know Inglethorpe had helped us a bit, but things weren't great. And then when Taylor came in, things weren't great. We're kind of like perennial underachievers. And so, of course, who wants the job, and we're a division higher, but whoever wants the job is going to be more limited. Whereas now you feel like, well, actually, I've heard some names bandied around, and we'll come on to this as well. And you think like, well, that's not that unlikely. I know wages are our limiting factor.
Yeah.
But, well, that guy's not that unlikely, and that guy's not that, I can see why you'd leave.
Let's come on to some names then.
Okay.
So there's the options are internal appointment.
Yes.
And that would include, we've had to kind of bone up on this morning because I wasn't really sure who did what. To be honest, I've heard some of these names, don't know what they do. You got Wayne Carlisle there,
assistant manager.
He took over the other day when Matt Taylor had a baby.
Yes.
You got Kevin Nicholson.
Yes.
He's head of coaching
and previous manager at Torquay United.
That goes against him. You got John Hill.
Yeah, Jonathan Hill, not to be confused with John Hill.
Okay, he's done loads of stuff.
Been a coach, been an assistant manager.
Yeah.
He
but hasn't managed any sort of English Football League team.
I don't think he's ever been actual manager of anyone.
Okay.
He's currently first team coach.
So what we've got is no one obvious.
There's also Scott Brown, I suppose.
No one obvious.
Yeah, no, that's right. So
there's no natural successor. People talked before about Dan Green being the next one. Obviously, he's the guy who had Matt Taylor's old job, the kind of youth team manager, right? So he would have been the kind of like, what do they call it? Succession appointment.
Succession plan.
The succession plan.
He's gone to Villa, right?
He's gone to Villa. So pretty unlikely, I'd say, that he comes straight back. It's only the other day.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Maybe he will. Now, maybe one of them takes over for a while.
Yeah.
Interim.
I mean, there's no
We've got a game
there.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. John's.
So, yeah, sort of a game. And then someone comes in when we find someone else. Or maybe one of them gets the job full time.
I mean, there's no mad rush. Like, it's the middle of it's early in the season.
Yeah, it's not the best time. But yeah,
there's
no mad rush. You're right.
There's no mad rush. So if it took a fortnight, you'd think, okay.
Yeah. We've got some big games coming up and we've got a lot of injury problems.
Yes and yes.
But there's no need to... That wouldn't be the reason to panic a point because those are temporary problems,
Yes.
We're actually expected to lose those big games anyway, regardless of whether Taylor was there or not. And the injuries, none of them are like, oh, he's out forever. Well, apart from Kyle Taylor.
That's right. So actually, there's a good squad there. There are men at the club who could certainly take charge for the time being and, just play like you've been playing, lads, kind of thing. We'll find you a centre-back. What about external then?
So external.
Yes.
There's a lot of names been bandied around. Thanks to the good people at XWeb, the Exeter City Forum, doing the research so we don't have to.
Thank you, lads.
If you don't know what a forum is, kids who are listening, it's like Instagram, but there's no pictures.
It's in no way like Instagram. It's like It's basically one step on from writing each other letters.
Yeah, or meeting up in the town square.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the town square. It's a notice board.
To talk about something.
And you can reply.
And then you always have to have, you've got sort of, kooky names.
Who's who's on the X-Web hit list?
Names I've seen mentioned.
Yeah.
I haven't got many. Artell, what's his name?
David Artell.
David Artell.
Former crew manager.
David Arquette.
Promoted. Not David Arquette. Not Courtney Artell.
Is David Arquette available?
Depends what you want him for. Acting, probably. Football management, less likely.
Okay, well, he's out then. But David Artell, so he's the one who's at Crew, right?
Yeah, and they're sacked because Crew came straight down.
Yeah. So,
but good, got Crew up.
Yeah.
Crew's obviously a similar kind of youth setup to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got Rob Edwards.
Oh, yeah. Not our Rob Edwards.
No, Forest Green guy, went to Watford, just got sacked. I think he's going somewhere else.
Talk of Middlesbrough, I believe.
Middlesbrough's become available today, and also Cardiff. So he's kind of like in the frame for both of them. So that looks pretty unlikely that he's going to come to Exeter.
Okay, what about those two managers then? What about Chris Wilder from Middlesbrough?
Chris Wilder.
He'd be quite expensive, wouldn't he?
I think he'd be very expensive, and
he's northern.
Yeah, and he could probably get another championship job, could he not?
Surely. He'd probably get a Premier League job.
Yeah.
So not him.
So not
Steve
him.
Morrison at Cardiff?
Don't know anything about him.
He was Millwall, wasn't he? And then Cardiff.
Is he any good?
Not really.
Okay, forget it.
All right, fine. Cancel.
A couple of people on there suggesting John Yems.
Oh, no.
Now, I don't know if any of you guys can remember exactly why John Yems is available at the moment, but I don't think he's going to be getting any manager jobs anytime soon.
Or any normal jobs.
Yes. In fact, if anything, he should be,
disbarred.
Yes.
Cancel Yems.
Also, there is plenty of chat about reinstating the aforementioned Sir Paul of Tisdaleshire.
I want to go on the record here. This won't shock you, listeners. Please no.
You don't want him?
I don't want him. I for a number of reasons. Mainly because that would feel like, well...
Going backwards.
Never go back.
Look, I don't want him either.
Okay. And you like him?
Not really. Yeah, and I like him. I don't want him back. I don't think you can go back there. He hasn't...
He hasn't covered himself in glory since.
MK Don's first season aside, he's basically been a bit of a disaster as a manager since then, and it's not what people want, is it?
Never worked when Terry Cooper came back.
No, I don't think it's what people want.
No, it's not what I want.
And it would just seem a bit like of anticlimactic, wouldn't it?
There's other talk. Yeah, it would. I think that would be a shame.
So also, I just want to give a quick shout out to a thing I found online, a blog called Expected Nonsense. expectednonsense.wordpress.com.
Yeah.
And this person looks at 5 National League managers you could consider and goes into an awful lot of detail about what they've been up to.
Good effort.
And in that list is Luke Garrard, who is at Boreham Wood.
Oh, yeah, he did well in the Cup, didn't he?
Yep. Andy Woodman, former Exeter City player.
Yeah.
Of course.
Craig's uncle. Not really.
Don't think he's related to Craig Woodman, although Craig Woodman as well. He's at Bromley.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Maynard, he's at Wealdstone, whatever they're called.
Wealdstone. Oh, yeah.
Mike Williamson. I'm not actually quite sure where he is, but another league. And Phil Parkinson, who's at Altrincham.
Phil Parkinson is in the guy that used to be at Bolton. Was that Phil Parkin? That's
Phil Parkin.
What about...
So those, and it's a really good read, and we who knows, we might not end up going with them, but it's worth looking at.
Okay, what about Neil Ardley?
Neil Ardley, another one mentioned by the ex-Webbers.
Oh yeah. Where is he now? Because he was at Wimbledon, wasn't he? Sacked by Wimbledon.
Yeah. Is he a good option?
Well, I don't know. He's similar mould to Matt Taylor, really.
Yeah. Oh, he's at Solihull Moors.
Oh yeah, they're doing quite well
there.
aren't they?
Yeah.
This is your curveball, but I'm just going to mention it. Ryan Harley.
The Ginger Prince.
The
love of my life.
Come on down.
So, Ryan Harley...
I'd let you shake hands with my wife.
Yes. I'd let you take my wife out to dinner.
Yeah. Home by 9, please,
but that's
Ryan.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You handsome man. Another one, actually, because no. Yeah. anyway,
Where's he? Notts
he
County?
is assistant manager at Notts County.
Okay.
But has risen kind of up the coaching ranks fairly quickly, I think. He was sort of, I don't know where he was before that, Bath.
Yeah, he was.
Player, coach or something
That's
like that.
right.
Anyway, it's not going to be him, but we'll, maybe someone can bring him back we'll have him as assistant.
There we are.
So we don't know. We couldn't be bothered to wait. We haven't even had the announcement yet. But we'd already booked the studio time.
Well, it's hard to know that we might be waiting for a week, might be waiting for a month.
Well, we might. I don't imagine we're waiting for him to hear whether he's definitely going or not, considering they already released a statement and then deleted it. But who ends up replacing him? Could be ages. Jose.
He's on the coaching staff. Seems unlikely.
That was a bit.
Sideman Hill's first loss. Imagine the grief he'd get.
Oh, he'd get all sorts of grief.
Because it's hard, right? It's a hard thing, is it? Take over someone else's team.
Yep, in the middle of the season.
In the middle of the season. So you want someone to come
when you've got a tough, straight away, you've just got all the hardest fixtures and no defenders.
Yeah.
This is an absolute disaster.
So you want someone to come in where people are like, oh, great. Okay, I'm going to trust him immediately. Now, that's quite hard to do. Obviously, the City model, given that we're financially limited, given that we're not central to the UK, given that we're not previously a big team, it's all signs point to either internal or someone stepping up, don't they?
Yeah.
Like we said, we're not going to get Chris Wilder, but we're also not going to get someone take a sidestep. There's probably... I know it's a stable club, and I know managers get time, but there aren't many clubs in League One that someone would want to leave their club to come to Exeter City.
It would have to be like the other way round. Like they do want to move to Exeter. Say one of our, I don't know, say Dean Moxey had gone off to manage someone and then fancied it coming back, and done really well and fancied it to come back because he lived here. You know? But there's no one like that.
No. Unless,
but I mean, there's a lot said about this. Oh, no one wants to come down there. Jerry Barton's calling it like Skid Row or something. It's like
he literally lives an hour up the road.
Yeah, but also it's nice. It's not like if you want like to party every weekend, it's not the best. But it's like a nice place to live if you're like a kind of professional person.
Yeah.
And maybe you've got like a young family or whatever. It's like, I don't know why it's painted as sort of like, oh, he wouldn't come down here. It's like, to one of the nicest bits of the country. Why not? It's not that far away.
No.
London's 2 hours on the train, you know, like
it's lunacy. So, but with all that in mind, we're looking at someone, aren't we? League Two, either out of a job who's had League One experience, David Artell, or League Two or non-league, really promising person who's like, that is the obvious step up for me. I'm a capable person. League One's obviously really attractive, isn't it? More than, obviously, it's a stupid thing to say, but obviously it's more attractive than League Two.
I prefer that option, to be honest, than one of the internal ones, just because I don't see anyone obvious in there.
No.
And if we're in League Two still, I'd think, maybe just give them a go. Because as long as we won't go down with that squad, and if we don't go up, we've been down here for ages. It's not the end of the world. They've got time to kind of adjust to it. But given we're kind of like trying to stay in this division, and it's going to be difficult to do that, not impossible. And I would fully expected us to stay in had Matt Taylor stuck around. But with a new manager, that does present, a challenge, and we want to stay up there. So it's got to be someone so I don't see anyone there. And I could be completely wrong about all these people. Like, we could be talking in 4.5 years about how gutted we are that Kevin Nicholson has left us to go and join Hull.
Yeah.
Because that's where his mam lives. Like, I don't know.
No.
Like, that could happen. But personally, after I read this, like, I know this blog hasn't paid us any money, but after I read that, I was kind of like, oh, I want one of these fellas.
Yeah.
I kind of want the first one I said. What's he called?
The chap from Boreham Wood?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want him.
Okay. I mean, at the moment, our attitude is, oh, Matt Taylor's done so much for us. How are we going to manage without him? But actually, that's a very talented squad. And it really is. Maybe the next manager comes and brings them on even further. You know, I don't think.
No, that's possible. Like, Matt Taylor is not without his limitations.
No.
We're not kind of, it's sad to see him go. And like I said, overall, he's been a great guy for the job. In all aspects, he's not like the best football manager out there.
No.
And but it's a very good squad, and someone could do even better things with them. Like we can't take that kind of credit away from how good those players are.
No, and someone could come in with, like Taylor's done really well on his connections and his signings, but come with even better connections.
Yeah,
like.
I'll tell you what, it's interesting, isn't it? I like it that it's kind of like, I'd rather it didn't happen, but it's exciting. It's exciting stuff. Like, what's going to happen? Like, is he going to play people, whoever it is? Or will they play people in the same places? Will we play the same system? What's going to change? Like, are we going to see? I don't know.
There's another
exciting.
factor. There's another factor in the trust and the board's thinking, isn't there? Which is, for a long time, there's been this aim of 6,000 people coming to games.
Yeah.
Well, we've got that.
Yeah.
Like we're hitting. I know, like Bristol Rovers brought 1,200, but we're even without them.
We're pretty much there.
We're pretty much there.
Yeah, and that actually happened in a very short space of time.
It did.
Yeah.
And so you want to think like, okay, how do we keep that going as well? It's not just staying in the league at all costs.
Yeah.
It's how do we make this continue to flourish?
Also, and getting more people involved in the trust as well.
All that
I
stuff.
mean, the amount of people this week going, I couldn't get Argyle tickets. It's like, how long have you supported City for? Oh, since I was born. Why don't you just join even if you're kind of against it, you might as well join it just so you can get priority tickets.
Yeah.
You fools.
Well,
it's only £2 a month.
Yeah. I know people, like Premier League clubs, and to even have a chance of getting a ticket, you got to be like a club member, right?
Yeah.
And can be a few £100s a year.
Yep.
Just to get the tickets. So even if you just treat it like that.
Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of
that's
sidebar.
Yeah, but so that should be in their thinking as well, isn't it? So they're not just like, let's just survive. I can't think, Holloway, we'll get Holloway in, he'll help us survive, be terrible football, we'll all hate everything.
Yeah.
That can't just be their only thinking, and I'm sure isn't.
No, you don't expect it. Given since the trust started, the appointments they've made, I'd be very surprised if we went for someone like that.
Yeah.
And especially given that we're like only 10 games into the season.
Yeah.
This isn't like we're 10 games left of the season.
No.
Then you might think parachute someone in to just kind of like see it through.
Yeah. No, we've got the luxury of, like you said, October's difficult anyway.
Yeah, it's almost like it's nearly a free hit. It's not entirely, but it is kind of, especially given all the injuries as well, you know? So it's kind of like, well, no one would expect us to do, like,
no,
I hate to say it, but no one's expecting us to beat Argyle away, are they?
Well, I don't think we'll be distraught if we
like
lose 1-0.
Like on the day, you mean, like maybe we win it because derbies are weird, but like, I mean, they're absolutely flying. And
it's Ipswich, isn't it? Like Ipswich.
And Ipswich, yeah, exactly, like.
So, you're right. It's an opportunity for that person to come and, approach it in interesting ways.
Yeah.
Whoever they are.
So, who are we playing next Saturday?
Oxford United.
Oxford United.
No, is that right?
No,
that's the next home
after,
game.
Yeah.
That's Barnsley this Saturday, sorry.
Barnsley.
Yeah.
Away.
And
so, possibly, depending on what happens, we might do another podcast or something before that. But we're a bit busy, aren't we?
Well,
we're a bit busy with other things, but we might do.
Well, I think
if something happens,
I mean, realistic. I don't know. Like, I'd be interested to know in the future. Did they see this coming? Like, they knew he had an interview presumably on Thursday. So at that point, is Taggy and the board, are they like, right? Who's, we know he's an attractive person for Rotherham. They'll probably want him. Are the wheels already in motion?
I mean, presumably you always have got.
Presumably you've always got a shortlist.
You've always got, you're always monitoring that situation, surely, aren't
and
you?
Making contacts, and obviously some of those people we know, but some we don't.
Yeah.
Are they tapping them up, to use the old phrase?
Yeah, maybe. You've got to think that something's going on like that, haven't you?
So then, because of course with Tisdale, I know it's a different situation, but was there an hour and a half between like? It was certainly like no time
when
at all.
Matt Taylor came in.
When Matt Taylor came in.
Yeah. That was like, I can't remember exactly, but that was quick.
Well, it was a day at the most, wasn't it? It was very, very quick. Now, I know that's different, but they knew Tisdale might be going. The writing was on the wall. Taylor was there. Now, Taylor's been interviewed for other club positions in the past, hasn't he?
Yeah. So Charlton, I think there was talk of Lincoln as well.
There was Lincoln a year ago or so.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, given that we're
Well, of course, and we're doing well, and we got promoted. The minute they got promoted, it must have been thinking, "Oh, someone might have him here."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So you got to hope that there's, and there will be. So they're not total idiots.
I'd love a curveball. I'd love a curveball.
Really? Do you think it's going to be someone that no one's mentioned at all?
Imagine if it was a foreign manager.
Oh, a foreigner down here.
We'd love it. I don't just mean Cornwall.
I'd like that. Do you know, like if it was someone like
Some absolute lunatic
like someone
from France.
Spanish or
Yeah.
or French, and then everyone's wearing berets.
Yeah.
Or or Spanish, and everyone's waving straw donkeys on the big bank.
Yeah, just to fulfil all the racial stereotypes.
But like in that kind of kind of
we're all French
friendly
now.
way.
Yeah,
kind of thing, yeah. And maybe we could have some chants in French.
Oh yeah.
Frere Jacques. I don't know. Maybe adjust that.
Yeah. I'd love
Frere
that.
Jacques Sparks.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, could be about him. Yeah, a curveball. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's exciting, isn't it, in a way? And then when we get some absolute spud, then we'll be gutted. But until then, it's exciting.
Yeah, imagine if it was Gary Johnson. Is he still at Torquay? He is, isn't he?
Oh no, not him.
Please, not him. Tell you who is a shout is his son, whose name I've completely forgotten. He was at Bristol City.
Son. Oh right, okay.
I think he's out of a job at the minute. Why can't I remember his name? And when Bristol City were going to get promoted...
Boris. He's out of a job.
What's his name? Anyway, that kind of thing. West Country people.
Yeah.
Not out of the question.
Do we have any idea how much Matt Taylor gets paid?
No. No idea at all.
He must have been given gone up a band when we went up a band last season.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there must be
So that means there's
clauses.
there's money. There's money there. If someone's not got a job,
Yeah.
and someone goes like, "Do you want a job?"
His name's Lee Johnson. He's at Hibs. Forget it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there must be cash. I don't know. We'll see, won't we? But it's I think we've got to remember it's a tempting proposition.
Absolutely, it
Job
is.
security.
Yep.
Thriving club. Interesting setup. Brilliant squad. League One. Those are all
Big crowds.
big crowds. Nice place to live.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want it?
Who wouldn't want it, Matt Taylor? But apart from that...
Well, he did want it. He just had enough of it.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Anyway, there was also some football played this week. We're going to talk about that in a second. Welcome back to the Big Bang Theory podcast. If you'd like to send us some poetry, stop all the clocks, turn off the telephone in mourning, please do. If you've written some poetry about Matt Taylor.
Well, there is that Exeter City poet, isn't it? So
Oh, yeah.
maybe he'll do
He
one.
listens, I believe.
Maybe he'll do a poem about Matt Taylor leaving.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah. We sort of started this podcast as Matt Taylor sort of just taken over, didn't we, pretty much? About half season in.
Yeah.
So maybe it's time we call it quits now. Yeah, we go with him.
We were just a Matt Taylor thing.
We'll just go to start doing a Rotherham podcast.
Oh.
The big mill theory.
Yeah. The Millbank theory. Oh, something else. Can I stick with Exeter City?
Yeah.
I don't know about Rotherham.
No, that's why we keep going on about Chuckle Brothers every time they come up, because it's the only thing I know about them.
Where is it? Sheffield?
Rotherham. It's Yorkshire, isn't it?
Yeah, Sheffield's in Yorkshire.
Yeah, I don't know.
I told my friend, who's a Brentford supporter, that he'd gone, and she said, why has he done that? And I said, well, his family's from Chorley. And she was like, near Watford. Oh, that's Chorley Wood. So,
yeah, no, it's literally, basically in Sheffield.
Is it? Yeah. That's what I thought.
But close-ish. Where's he from? Chorley, close-ish.
Chorley's Manchester, is it?
Yeah. A lot closer to... He's got the Peak District in the way. He'll
Uh,
have to traverse the Peak District if he wants to get home to see his...
Ma'am.
Mam.
for fry up
Yeah,
on
for
a
a
Saturday morning before he plays.
bread and dripping or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
No, Matt, you're fine. You can have all the bread and dripping you want
A
now.
lardy
and
cake.
Vimto.
Nice.
No,
You ever had a lardy cake?
No, I haven't. Why do I know that? Is that in a sort of nursery rhyme or something?
Don't know.
Lardy cake. That's not what it sounds like, is it?
What do you mean?
Well, it's just like a cake made of lard.
I think so.
I'm not sure you should be eating lard.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
What's the difference between lard and butter?
I think lard doesn't have any dairy in it,
What does it have in it then?
like animal fat.
Oh, it's literally just like
I think so.
where you skim it off the top of the beef and then put it in, shape it into a block.
I suppose so. I think
And
it's when you
And you
boil the beef or something and it comes off.
Oh, right. And
I
then
don't honestly. I'm way out of my depth.
you spread it on your sandwiches.
Spread it on your cake and have a lardy cake.
Well,
That's the way the Northerners like it.
have at it, Taylor.
Good luck keeping trim up there, Matt.
Yeah. I mean, it's not exactly... It's not as appetising as a pasty, is it? And I suppose that's probably why motorway services up and down the country don't have a little stall outside selling lard.
No.
But they do have one selling pasties.
Yorkshire Lard Company.
Yeah.
No thanks.
No.
So, if you want to tell us your feelings, you can do via social media at Big Bank Pod on Twitter, Big Bank Theory Podcast on Facebook, and with bigbankpod@gmail.com. If you put that Matt Taylor leaving was the surprise of the year, you're looking quite good for the end of season quiz.
Yeah. I'm maybe somebody did.
I think some people did. So kudos to you. So there was also some football played before Taylor made his shock announcement.
It was Bristol Rovers at home.
Yeah.
As we
Flipping Joey
mentioned,
Barton.
Sold out
To
see the little shit Barton.
What's the matter with... I mean, I know what the matter with him is. He's an absolute donkey. But
Well, he does it on purpose,
Does it
doesn't
on
he?
purpose.
He's a kind of
does it on purpose,
provocateur.
Lynn? Yeah.
They're doing it on purpose, Lynn.
Yeah.
Yeah. He made some statement calling us the arse end of nowhere or something, or Skid Row or something like that. It's like, well, I mean...
And he also said he respects us, but he doesn't like us.
He
Well,
just doesn't like Matt Taylor, does
We
he?
haven't done anything to you, Joey. It's you.
Well, I mean...
Apart from thumped you.
Well, I mean,
football-wise.
having 4,000 people chant that you're a,
Sex offender.
Berkshire Hunt and sex offender and other things at you, that's sort of...
Yeah,
you
well.
can understand why you might not like it. But I thought he probably gets that everywhere, though. Maybe he doesn't like anyone.
So, like I said last week, my cousin was there, Bristol Rovers supporter, and he said, yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, I bet it is. Of course it is.
Non-stop.
But he thrives on it, I think. It fuels him.
I just want to say this, though, before we talk about the football. I thought it was horrendous that people were singing at the Bristol Rovers physio.
Yeah, that was very uncomfortable. And have a word with yourselves.
Like, sort it out.
I thought we were past. I was actually quite surprised about that.
Yeah.
Because I thought, we're past this now, aren't we? We've all seen a woman, We've seen women at football matches, and you don't feel the need to chant sort of Bernard Manning-esque kind of chants at them from the 1980s at them. And also, you're all about 14, so we don't... I mean, what can you do?
The whole thing was
What
insane.
can you do? I'm not going to go over there and start kind of going like, respect the woman, please, but I am going to talk about it on my stupid podcast.
Well, absolutely. And I saw other people write about it on Facebook, and I was like, yeah, flipping terrible.
Like, you're embarrassing. None of you have ever had sex. And,
Well, be that as it may, like...
let her do her job.
Absolutely.
You mean? Like, it's just a woman. Well, I mean...
And also, like, you're having a go at Joey Barton, like, whatever.
That's fine. He's put himself out there and says provocative things, and has also done a load of horrendous things that he kind of deserves mocking for. What's she done?
Yeah.
Apart from got herself a good job.
I felt they got excited shouting rude words at Joey Barton and couldn't help themselves when they saw a woman. Anyway, I just wanted to flag that up, really. But apart from that, it was great to see the ground full.
Yeah.
And by the way, it was a small group of people doing that. But there we are.
Quite a few of them.
Yeah, not the whole ground is what I'm saying.
Absolute dicks.
Brilliant to see full ground. Really, it is really good to see an away end that's full.
Oh, it feels like a different thing when it's full like that. It really does.
Actually hear them singing.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah, as you'd expect.
And we're going to get a lot more of that because there'll be, there's other teams
there's
that
10
there's
teams,
other
aren't there, like
teams
that?
that are close, or if they're not close, they're so big that they will travel in those numbers. You mean? So it made me really look forward to kind of the Bolton home game, to the Portsmouth home game, Ipswich home. That's long, these are all a long way away, but they'll still travel well because they've got thousands of supporters.
They've got thousands of supporters.
So those. It was great, and I made me really look forward to all those other games to come.
Absolutely.
Much better than when like Forest Green turned up with 4 vegans.
Yeah.
Nothing against vegans.
We were all rewarded by a terrible first half, though. So thanks, everyone.
Yeah, we weren't playing very well, were we?
I think both teams kind of cancelled themselves out, and no balls were sticking to anyone, were they?
Bristol Rovers clearly were happy to play like that, I think, and they did an extremely good job first half of taking absolute care of all of our 3. We went out with that star-studded attacking lineup of Jay Stansfield, Giovanni Brown and Sam Nombe up front, and they handled that as well as you could.
Yeah.
They never got sniff hardly. That first half,
no.
Really well done. They made themselves really hard to break down. Obviously, with 3 up front, we only had 2 in the middle.
Yeah.
Harper and Collins.
Who looked good, by the way.
Yeah, I thought Raheem Harper worked tirelessly throughout the game.
Yeah.
And was actually really good. And Collins decent. But it was tough for them. They were Bart instead amongst the kind of annoying things in that article. He did kind of analyse the way we play pretty well, and then seemed to kind of be able to deal with that. Kept the wing backs kind of thing. Jack Sparks seemed to be having a strange day where he kept kind of trying to cross really early.
Yeah, weird, wasn't it?
And then rather than going down the line.
Well, that was obviously an instruction.
Yeah. But anyway,
he couldn't do it.
But I mean, we'll come on to that. Did change, and then a bit of a naff half. But
so second half, then they took the lead.
They took the lead. Yeah,
about an hour in, wasn't it?
What happened there again? I can't really remember. I mean, mine's all full of Matt Taylor going.
I can't remember either. I've got completely stuck in my mind their stupid penalty they gave away.
Yeah.
So we 1-0 down, and then we hadn't created anything.
I think it's a bit of a breakaway. We hadn't really created anything, but we had more of the ball than them, but we couldn't break them down. The same kind of thing. They scored. And then we won a penalty. Is that right?
Yeah, so Sparks gets into the box
He does go down the line this time to try to get to the byline, and then the guy the defender picks him up and sort of chucks him on the it's sort of kind of a suplex.
It's almost a suplex, isn't it? The
very strange decision. I was kind of thinking at the time, we might get a corner here. Best case scenario, we get a corner. Worst case scenario, goal kick or free kick to them. And then the guy just decides to pick him up, belly to belly suplex.
It's bizarre, given how well they defended in the first half.
Extremely weird.
Because it kind of paid off. So their goal, I think, if I'm remembering it right, there was just a man over, wasn't there? And then he slots it away in the middle, John Marquis. But you think surely they're going to shut this out. No, I didn't feel like anything was coming. And then no. He insane piece of defending.
Yeah.
Ref couldn't even believe. I don't think anyone could quite believe that had just happened.
No.
I think he thought he was outside the box.
Do you reckon?
Well, otherwise you're an idiot.
Or just got really. Them two were having a bit of a kind of tussle.
Got really
I
carried
don't know
away.
if it just got to him or something. But anyway, Giovanni put the penalty away.
Very nice.
He's good at them.
1-1.
1-1.
Then their keeper.
Yeah, this is brilliant. So their keeper all game had been sort of doing that kind of Manuel Neuer, kind of like, I'm going to come for everything. And it's a little bit kind of, it can be a really useful thing, but it's a little bit kind of like, you're making a bit of a spectacle of yourself, sweeper keepers kind of thing. And if it goes wrong, you look like a twat. And that is exactly what happened.
Bounced over his head.
And Sam Nombe obviously got the pace and the power to get the wrong side and just taps it in. 2-1.
2-1.
We all go mad.
So that's with 10 minutes to go.
10 minutes to go, yeah.
Delighted.
We make it to 90 minutes. The ball goes up. 5 minutes added on. Seemed a bit much.
The ref was a bit of a stickler, wasn't he?
He was.
And then...
Yeah, 1 minute in.
Oh, by the way, the sticklingness meant that Sweeney got a yellow,
Yeah,
which puts him out for the next game.
it does. Yeah,
Net 1 game or 2 games?
just 1 game, I think, innit? That's 5 yellows.
That's right.
In the first half of the season. Good. Didn't need any centre backs anyway.
Didn't like them. We're going to pay 9 up front.
And then they scored again.
Breakaway,
kind of counter-attack goal. They get the cross in.
Unfortunately, after having a really good game, Giovanni gives it away on the edge of their box.
Well, I actually don't think he did have that good a game, to be honest. His touch seemed a little off. I mean,
Maybe.
good game for... A bad game for him is still a decent game,
Yes.
you mean? But
Right.
And he
After
still
he'd made an
scored
impact,
and
then.
assisted. So you
Yes.
can't have too much of a go at him. I think on balance, a draw... It was Ryan Loft who scored, by the way. You might remember him. He played about 5 minutes for us a few years ago. I used to see him in the gym just sort of sitting around for hours,
Yeah.
not ever seeming to do anything. But, fair enough. He sort of seems to be getting going a bit at Bristol Rovers. He's been around.
Scored 5 or 6 now, hasn't he?
Been around a few places, but, it was a decent header. Didn't need to happen.
Very frustrating.
Yeah, and I think it was frustrating. I think a draw on balance of the whole game is probably about a fair result. I don't think we really played well enough to win, but we probably could have got away with it if we just kind
To
of
get to 90 minutes and be ahead.
And we're usually quite good at seeing games out as well these days. So, and not that good at coming from behind, but we did do that.
Yeah, so 2-2, a point.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you say, probably fair enough. Then Taylor's interview.
Yeah, Matt Taylor's so distracted that he seems to have forgotten or not noticed that, or isn't any of his concern that Piers Sweeney is now suspended for the next game, but he is. So
that means Stubbs is out. Apparently he's 3 weeks away.
Yeah, but he's always 3 weeks away.
Yeah, Diabate's out, 2 weeks away.
Okay.
Sweeney's out for a game.
Kite's still out.
Yeah.
He's another one that can play there. Grounds is still out. Do we know?
No.
But not ages. They're all too much for Barnsley away, though, aren't they?
So it's Josh Key defending on his own in a position that he doesn't.
We have got Alex Hartridge.
So Hartridge and Key as a part of a back four? Or do they bring...
But who's the other centre-back?
What? No, Hartridge and Key could play centre
Oh, as a two.
As a two.
Oh, I don't think so.
What about Harper? And then you add someone into the midfield.
Has he ever played there?
I don't know.
Is there anyone else that's ever played centre-back?
Harry Smith.
He's tall.
He's tall.
He wins every... it's hardly surprising, but when he came on... By the way, he came on when we were 1-0 down.
Yes, he did.
And actually made a real difference.
Yeah, he's good, isn't he?
He wins every single header.
Yeah.
And he's actually pretty decent.
Yeah,
the
he
flick-ons
is.
as
He
well,
is, yeah.
And the knockdowns. We weren't winning any second balls.
He's not
till
Alex
he came
Fisher,
on.
is he?
Absolutely not, no.
No.
I don't know. Then we look at the youth. Is Harrison King a defender?
Well, of course, Alfie Pond was our next on the list, but he's gone.
He's gone. Is
Yeah,
anyone out on loan?
I don't know. Hey?
Is anyone out on loan?
Yeah, but I don't know if any of them are centre-backs. We're getting now to
Harrison King is commonly known as a centre midfielder, but has covered and played at centre-back. Oh, good. So he...
Good luck,
It is
Matt
him.
Taylor replacement. Good luck, Taggy. Can Taggy do a job?
No.
What about if you put
Absolutely not.
Scott Brown in goal and put Jamal Blackman centre-back with Harry Smith? That would be a sight.
Yeah. We're just going on who's tall now, aren't we? I suppose.
I've run out of other choices.
Flipping heck. I don't know what we're going to do. Maybe it is just... Maybe the only option is to have... play four at the back and have Key and
Hartridge. Hartridge, fine.
What are Barnsley like? What do they get up to?
Well, they're better than us. They're in the top 6, aren't they?
We're in the Premier League, of course. That's
They were, of course,
about the only thing I know about
Barnsley are 5th at the minute. 20 points.
Barnsley. How do they play?
Very well, thank you. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do here.
Michael Duff, the manager.
Oh, yeah. Duffy.
Duffton. Duffers. The Tykes.
Yeah.
Formed in 1887 by Reverend Tiverton Preedy. Okay, so that's... will he be there?
Probably not. Could he play centre-back for us?
Oh, hang on. Are they still owned by Billy Bean? You know the guy from Moneyball.
Really?
Is that him?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Because then there was all this stuff around. They took in their sponsor was going to be some awful Bitcoin agency. Remember this?
No, that's Crawley, isn't it? And it is owned.
No. Barnsley was sponsored by someone, and then there was a big protest because it's homophobic organisation.
Oh right, okay.
And they changed their mind. I think it is him still. Yeah. Oakwell is the ground, isn't it?
Oakwell. Yes, I suppose it is.
Okay, well that's that. Now, what we'll do is you won't hear from us unless some big news happens. So if it's Wayne Carlisle or Scott Brown or whatever,
or anyone interim.
Could Wayne Carlisle play at the back still? He's not really a centre back.
No, not ideal, is it?
Not ideal. We probably won't report on that. If we take on a new manager, we'll do a special.
Yeah.
Is that right, Dan?
I think so, yeah, if we've got time.
If we've got time. If it's a Friday afternoon appointment, probably not.
Probably not.
If
no.
It's a Wednesday morning.
But, there's other places to get this, news from.
Apparently the BBC do a job.
BBC reporting on stuff that hasn't even happened, so.
Ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Well, what a week it's been. Well, I mean, what a day, really.
Yeah.
I mean, interesting times at Exeter City. And we're here to mull it over.
We certainly
so
are.
So you don't have to.
Yeah, mull with us.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.